Hello and welcome back to the Truly Bedrock server. Now today we're going to be actually building up some of the fortress farm which I've been working on. So, let's see, I'm going to go up and show you a little bit of what we've got going on. So, as you can see, I've made a little start up here. I've been laying out these target blocks. Now, a lot of you probably haven't watched my recent video on mob conveyors, but we're going to go have a look at that technology in a moment. But I've started laying out these target blocks with the intention that I'm going to be sorting out the mob conveyors all up here. So I should probably go and tell you a little bit about the mob conveyors, just in case you haven't seen it. And I'm actually going to give you a bit of a more in-depth kind of view of the mob conveyor as well. Because I did a video not so long ago and it was very kind of, you know, this is what it is, get on with it. I didn't really talk you through how to do it, or the things that you can do beyond the basics that I was trying to aim for. Anyway, let's go have a look. Right, first things first, what is a mob conveyor? A mob conveyor is basically something that can convey a mob from A to B. Now usually you don't get minecarts and rails sort of included in that because generally it will only move one mob at a time, and what we're really wanting to achieve is to move lots and lots of mobs at one time. But for obvious reasons, you want to move lots and lots of things. So I came up with this idea. These are all basically minecarts on activator rails, set up in a very particular way. That means that if we have some mobs, I'll just show you this very quickly. There we go, loads of mobs. If I do that and then connect that up, as you can see, they are shooting off in that direction. This is quite slow. Maybe I should speed that up for you guys for the demonstration. What do you think? Leave your comments down below. This isn't a stream, Groover. But anyway, the point is, you get the idea. It is moving the mob up in that direction pretty darn quickly. It's, well, it's about twice, 2.5 times as fast as this, at least. So, yeah, pretty fast. Now, the other upshot is that even with... Let's go like that. Let's get rid of those for a second. This will handle a lot of mobs at any given time. So it doesn't have to be like one mob at a time, or it doesn't have to wait for the minecart to come back. It's going to move them along pretty darn quickly. Now, another thing that we found out with this is that it will move mobs on the diagonal. So, let me tell you a little bit about the thing first. I will just grab up some of that, and then put that back down. Right. So, the activator rail will basically dispense the mob in a particular direction, in a consistent way. Now I'm told that if the activator rail has a moving minecart on it, i.e. one which has got motion, then it does something a little bit different, and it'll probably pop us out over there. But that's not the point, we've got stationary minecarts. Now what happens if we block that space? It's going to push me off over in this direction. That is also consistent. Okay, and then I block that space, and then we can build up a bit of a picture of how this is going to move mobs around. So the basic premise is that it's going to try and move us in these directions first. Well, I said these directions. It wants us to go negative Z, positives, yeah, negative Z first. So if I take all those away again, you'll get the idea. So I jump in there, I block that, then it sends us back in the opposite direction, and then it puts us forward in the negative Z. Okay? So that is exactly what that is doing. It is using the fact that the mob is always going to be put into this block here to pick up the mob and then move it into the next one, then into the next one, then into the next one, blah blah blah. And it does this in basically one tick. One game tick, not even a redstone tick. So a game tick is like 20 every second, and a redstone tick is, I think it's still 10 every second. I'm a little bit rusty on my redstone in Bedrock, it's been a while, but it certainly used to always be 10, I'm pretty sure it still is. So that puts us out here, and it can move the mobs along that line, well, basically 20 blocks a second. This one's around about 8-ish, and this one's 20. Now, because we know that we can get the minecart to dispense us diagonally as well, so boop badoop, I'm going to go there, I think, is it? Yeah, there, that's the preference. If that's full, it's going to make us go here. You get the idea. we can actually use the diagonals as well to move mobs on a diagonal. Now, how does this work? Basically, what's happening is the mob is getting moved. This is the automatic feature of an activator rail with a minecart on it. It is moving the mob in a particular direction on exit. And also, minecarts pick up mobs instantly. And because of this, when you place them next to each other, it just moves along. So it all depends on the mob's hitbox leaving this one and hitting the next one. Now, if the mob actually has a slightly bigger hitbox than just like a small one blocker, then it can almost be picked up by this one. So if I just power that real quick, doop, and we get a wither skeleton, you'll get an idea pretty quickly how this is going to go. So the wither skeleton, oops, that didn't work, did it? If I drop that there, it gets dispensed there. If it's a piglin, it stops right there. Okay, so wither skeletons can technically move 40 blocks a second straight away for absolutely nothing. Right, and then you can do it on diagonal, which adds a little bit of extra distance, which is, you know, 56 meters per second, and then you can do it on the angled upwards like that. These two are kind of nice to know about, but they're not terribly useful, because I say they're not terribly useful, they're kind of fun. So like that, that's going to place us there, and then we get moved on a little bit further. So you can move mobs quite quickly like that, and the other option is on the upwards angle. The problem with the upwards angle is it is very difficult to move mobs upwards. It'll only do that when there is no space on the same level around it, at which point it resets itself back to the beginning. So we're facing that way, then we're going to do that, and then we go there, then we should go there, and then we should go onto that side. Oh no, I got it wrong. But anyway, you get the idea. It'll only move you upwards if there's no actual spaces for it to go into. And then similar with going downwards, it'll only do that if there is no upward space or space on the same level to go to. So this should move me down to there. But if there's a space right there, which is the least, well actually no, that is lesser chosen than this one, I think. It still puts us in that direction. Okay. Now, another little thing which we found out is that buttons actually do work to some degree. So, it took me a little while to figure this one out again, but basically buttons can be used in this configuration. So in this case, it kind of doesn't see the button to try and put a mob on, because what should happen here is you should go back and forth. It should stop you from going forward because there's no block in front, or it should push you up onto the next level because there's no block there for it to go to. So if I do that, or even like that, let's go like that, it's gonna, yeah, I forgot about that. It's gonna try and push us back up the way. It shouldn't try and put us down that hole. However, the button actually allows it to think that it can put you down that hole. Like so. So we can actually have mob softeners and things built into this, which is pretty darn handy. Like so. So this is a few of the features which we're going to be using to build a mob conveyor for our fortress farm. This is basically a copy world of what I've got over on Truly Bedrock there, and this is using the mob conveyors. So we've got our spawning locations there, which you've already seen. We've got the mob conveyors just in front of them. So what's going to happen is there's a piece of glass on the second block up above. So there's air block, then glass. And that is going to push the mob as it spawns forward into the minecart. The minecart is instantly going to zip it along and put it into a trident killer. So we've got these running along the way in front of all of the spawning locations. Now on the version which I'm going to build, I'm probably not going to do these back three because there isn't a good like AFK spot at the front here where I can catch those back three spots as well as like all of this So realistically, I'm going to take this one, I'm going to lose those 3, which is a shame, but you know, it is what it is, and it's not the end of the world. Anyway, all of the spawning locations have got minecarts in front of them. We've got things going around corners, so technically a mob that goes there is going to go diagonally rather than go forward then across, because that is the negative Z direction. And it's pretty straightforward. Now what we're going to do on TV, as you might have seen, is I'm using a lot of target blocks on there, and that means that I can turn the power off on this entire thing. So the activator wheels won't be activated, the mobs will just sit there waiting, like safe, not doing anything, taking up the mob cap, job done. Pretty simple really. But I can use the target blocks all the way around here to make this have an on-off switch, and then it can have an on-off switch on the trident killers here as well. Now, I've got 2 trident killers next to each other, and that is to take into account for the different levels. So the front level is lower than the back level here, as I think you might remember from the previous videos there. And the reason for that is because, well, the spawning locations, I couldn't get them closer. If I could get them on the same level, we could have one run going down here. But as it is, I can't get the higher level to link to the lower level without problems that I do not want. There'll be ways that I could make it work, but I don't want to make it work like that because I really like this setup. I've been around it in my head, I think this is amazing. So, let's actually show you this in action. So, difficulty, no. There we go. Now if I go up to 84, we should start seeing spawns. Now, as you can see, this is why we've got them on 2 runs, because the big magma cubes are being taken off to a special kill chamber. So basically what's happening is the magma cubes, the big ones and the small ones, are all getting picked up by the minecarts and then getting shifted along super quick. Because the mob conveyor, this mob conveyor handles all of the magma cubes nicely. I've got it set up and I haven't seen any escaping. The small ones are going to be small enough to land in the trident killer, and they're going to get mashed and destroyed. The big ones are actually going to glitch through the glass. So you can see I've got a 1 wide gap between these 2 trident killers, and I'm feeding the mobs in on the right of that one and the left of that one. Which means that the magma cubes are basically going to clip this with their hitbox, and because they clip this with the hitbox, they're going to get carried off to these guys, which we should see in a second. It doesn't always work straight away, but it works. So they're only going to be taking up the mob cap gently for a few minutes, or a few seconds really, that didn't even take that long. So further to this, that we've recently found about frog lights. I was playing about with an idea of how to break them down. Now this setup here means that the small magma cubes, once they're broken down, the 2x2 magma cubes are never going to fall down. Big magma cubes are never going to fall down. These guys are going to wreck them, turn them into small magma cubes. They drop down into this kind of chute area really, and then can be eaten by frogs. I don't know when we're going to get frogs, I don't know when we're going to get frog lights, but this is basically a frog light farm. That's going to be a frog light farm, it's going to be amazing. So there's nothing much going to waste. The only waste here is that I don't have that many spawning locations. Like if this were a slightly better fortress, to be honest this was not a good fortress, but it was in the location that I wanted it. If this were a better fortress, there would be a lot more spawning locations in this area right here. Sadly there isn't, but you know, it doesn't matter. It is doing the job. So, now that you've seen the logic of everything that we're going to be doing, I need to go ahead and do it. And by the end of this episode, I'm hoping to have at least this setup, and the runs set up. And I might have to be doing manual kills. Actually, you know what? Trident killers are dead easy. It shouldn't take 2 minutes. I think redstoning it all up is going to be the problem. Now, target blocks. A lot of people weren't that impressed with target blocks not that long ago. They have changed. They've become the most awesome block in the game. Right, so this is approximately what we're working with. I've put the lamps on top just to make it an easy demonstration of what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to get power on top of all of these blocks. Now, target blocks redirect redstone and they now power through the block. So, check it out. They also will take up the repeater power. So it's basically a solid block that redirects the redstone, which is amazing. It just saves so much hassle, because if it weren't for the target blocks and if it were just like a normal block, let's have a look. If I were to do that, yeah, the redstone just runs alongside it, doesn't redirect. I'd have to have repeaters and all sorts of things to try and get it powered, whereas a target block will redirect the redstone, take the power. Amazing. And like I say, it's easy for me to get the power moving around this thing with a couple of repeaters, and you know, little things like that are just going to save me problems. Like, realistically, I don't need that line, I just go across like that and that should light everything up, which then means that I can stand on a pressure plate and have all of this turned on whenever I want it, and then turned off as soon as I leave the pressure plate. Pretty easy. Right, the first no fun thing about this particular farm is I'm going to have to build everything up like this. It's going to be slow. It's going to be really slow. And the reason I have to build it up like this is because if I just go like this, it's going to go like that. And because of the direction that I'm facing, if I go like that, it's going to go like that. I might be able to do it. Can I do it like that? Oh, I can do it like that. Let's get rid of that one. Boop, boop. And then doop. Oh, yeah. Actually, I'm quite liking this now. I think we've just found a hack. And then I can break all of that later. Amazing. Anyway, I've got a lot of placing and breaking to do. Right, this method is a lot easier in this direction because the rail kind of wants to go down facing that way, so you only need one extra rail here to fix the job, whereas over there I was needing two the entire distance. So this is going to get a little bit faster along the way, and I'm going to really be against it in terms of materials and resources because it's kind of expensive, this. But you know, I'm enjoying it and I'm looking forward to the result, that's for sure. Right, and we're back. I have to admit, this is a huge jump cut. I've kind of gone ahead and done everything. So, for you guys who don't know, this is why it's a huge jump cut. We recently got some kittens, and well, they have been taking over the office. They don't want to let me stop for a second if I'm recording, which I am right now. I'm surprised you can't hear them running around and causing problems. But they seem to have gone to sleep, so I'm just going to take this opportunity right now to record this little bit. So first things first, I've actually reduced the price on Dumb Ways to Die kits to 4 diamonds each because they've become a lot easier for me to get hold of. They are as they are. Magma creams, I'm getting loads of those. Blaze rods, I've actually put a shulker out here for people if they want to buy them. And just topping up bits and bobs. Like, that's wrong. That shouldn't be like that. That annoys me. Coal, yep, and arrows, free to mending bow degenerates, just because they clearly need the help to understand the game and how much better the infinity bow is. So we're just going to put these excess away. Yeah, there we go. Now what's in here? Yeah, I started making up an emergency kit. I say emergency kit, this is more like a mining kit really. So all of the things I want if I go mining, I'm going to add some armour into this kit as well, and that's just going to live in my ender chest forever and ever and ever. Got some more wither skulls there. Right, let's go and actually have a look at what I've been up to. Yes, it's a big one. Right, that's a good... No, I thought that was a good place to land, but this will do. So, you can see the entire thing from here. I've gone and laid out all of the redstone, which actually didn't take that long. I was surprised how quick it was. But, you know, it's one of those things, when you do your investigation, it kind of helps you out in the end. We've obviously got some good spawns going on down there. The guy at the back here is obviously picking off the occasional magma cube, which I'm a little bit worried about, or a little bit annoyed about, I should say, more than worried. Like, there shouldn't be any magma cubes back there, but I'm going to find out what's going on and how they're escaping, and I'm going to deal with it. So yeah, we laid out all of the target blocks, pretty straightforward. All the redstone, so that when I pull a lever over there, all of the redstone comes on, all the target blocks start moving, and stuff starts happening. So there's not much point in spending too much time staring at this, because you're kind of seeing it. I saw you. I saw you. Escaping. How did you escape, boyo? It kind of popped out the back. I think I need to fill in these corners. Anyway, we're just going to despawn that. And then we're going to go in this direction. So, all of the lines and redstone kind of come back to here. So, like in my version on the testing world, I've got the golems in there. I've put 3 golems in there because I was finding that any less and I'll just get dozens of little magma cubes causing problems and blocking the spawn cap. So I've put 3 of them in there to do the killing. Got a little collection system set up here, a little bit empty. I've just been through and sorted it all. Did a little bit of sorting out my stuff. We've obviously got some contenders ready to go. I've got this set up here to collect the items. That's going quite well. It's going nicely. It's kind of passive. I'm not getting looting on this, so you know, whatever. But this is where I can stand, and if I turn it on, you'll see them. Oh my lord, that is so cool. That is so cool. And I get to stand here. Trident Killer's doing all of the stuff and things. I'm getting the XP so I can stand down here a little bit. I only stand up here when I want to see the contenders coming on down. And I stand down here when I actually want to AFK and, you know, collect the items because, well, I say collect the items, collect the XP. I collect the XP from up there a bit, but not as much. But I've had to do quite a lot of, like, minor adjustments on this. The first adjustment being, oh, hello. See these big magma cubes? Magma cubes are the problem. I haven't found a perfect way of dealing with them. But, mostly, I've got most of them dealt with. That guy needs to chill out and come down. And that guy, that big magma cube, needs to get into that minecart. Let's see, if I stand up here, does that make any difference to the view? That is annoying. Go on, just clip through. You know that you can. Ow. How? Very rude. I need to find a better way of dealing with this. Sometimes they just go flying straight through and... See, there you go. Gone. Absolutely gone. Getting wrecked up there. Thoroughly deserved. So yeah, I'm really quite happy with this. I'm going to try a couple of things in a creative version and just see if I can get the magma cubes a little bit better sorted and situated out, because at the moment they're really annoying. Like, realistically they should almost always clip through into that, but they're not. Also, up in the Trident Killers here, I've built them both at the same height at the bottom, and I've just made like a single tube for the mobs to drop down into the Trident Killer. So they get the head underneath that, and then they stay low, and then they get lots of hit damage, and it's great. And yeah, I think this is going well. I particularly like standing here and just watching. This is where it's worth it. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Flying in. See, another one's escaped. Another one's escaped. Urgh! This was not happening on my test version. I'm going to have to see what I can do about that. Anyway, the golem at the back is going to deal with them. Let's turn that off. Let's just have a quick look up here. Yeah, we're getting the drops, we're getting the goods. Ugh. And I think next is going to be a sorting system on this. But I'm going to do that on a stream because everyone's seen sorting systems before. Nothing too interested in a sorting system. But what we'll do instead as well in the not too distant future is we're going to set up those blaze spawners, because we've got dual blaze spawners right here. And it would be nice just to have, well, it'd be nice to do something with them. it'll be fun to do something with them and show you guys exactly how blaze spawners work and how spawners work generally. So anyway, what can I say? That is all that I've got time for today. I hope you've enjoyed this. This one's been a little bit less explainy, a bit more buildy, bit of off-camera stuff, lots of kitten distractions. Anyway, thank you very much for watching once again. Take care and we'll see you again soon. Goodbye.